Hi friends, welcome back to our channel. Now let us go with the first question. The ratio of 5 is to 4 is expressed as a percentage is equal to. That means what we are asked to find out, we are asked to express this ratio of 5 is to 4 in the form of percentage. So in order to convert a ratio into percentage, what we need to do, we need to write that ratio into fraction form, and that fraction, if you want to convert a fraction into percentage, you should multiply it by 100 and take a percentage symbol. So 4 1 the 4, 425 is 100, and 25 into 5, 5 into 25 percentage, that is of 125 percentage. So from the answer options, you can go with the fourth option is the correct one for this question. 3.5 can be expressed in the terms of percentage as. Okay, so here we have given 3.5 and we are asked to write that into percentage. So as it is in decimal, to convert any decimal into percentage, you should multiply it by 100 and take the percentage symbol. And 3.5 is there, so to remove the decimal point, we need to take 1 in the denominator. As we have one decimal place, so we have to take 1 0 in the denominator. So 10 1 the 10, 10 10 the 100. So answer will be the 35 into 10 percentage, that is of 350 percentage. Again, fourth option is the correct one for this question. Next one, let's see. Okay, 860 percentage of 50 plus 50 percentage of 860. Okay, so firstly, let us find out that 860 percentage of 50 plus 50 percentage of 860 is given. So 860 percentage means what? 860 per 100 into 50 plus 50 percentage means what? 50 per 100 into 860. So 51 the 52 the, okay, 100. Here also 51 the 52 the 100. Again, with these two table we can cancel this 2 1 the 2, 2 4 30 is a, again 2 1 the 2, 2 4 30 is a. Okay, so what would be our answer? That is of 430 plus 430, that is 860 is the answer. So third option is the correct answer for this question. Now let us go with the fourth question. Saujanya obtained 60 marks out of 75 in the maths. Then find the percentage of marks that she got. Okay, so total how many marks are there? 75 marks. For that 75 marks, she got a 60. So 60 out of 75. So this is a way that we are representing the marks. And as it is a fraction, to convert this fraction into percentage, you should multiply it by 100 and take a percentage sign. Okay, and we all know that it is divisible by 25 table. 25 3 is 75, 25 4 is again 3 1 is 320 is. So 20 into 4, 20 into 4 percentage, that is of 80 percentage is the correct answer. So if you observe answer option, go with the first option is the correct one. Now let us say this next question. The difference of the two numbers is 20 percentage of its larger number, and if the smaller number is 20, then what is the larger number? Here what we have given with the difference between the two numbers is 20 percentage of larger number, and we also know that the smaller number given as a 20, and we are asked to find out a larger number. As we don't know the larger number, I'm supposing that larger number as a x. Okay, so if I suppose larger number as a x, and what we have given difference. A difference in the sense what? Greater minus smaller. Larger number x minus smaller number 20. That means x minus 20 is equals to 20 percentage of larger number. That is 20 percentage of x that we have given. So x minus 20 is equals to 20 per 100 into x. This can be simplified. 21 the 25 the. So x minus 20 is equals to x by 5, and transposing this plus x by 5 to other hand becomes negative, and transposing this negative 20 to other hand becomes a positive, so that we get x minus x by 5 is equals to 20. So here denominator is 1. To make this 1 as a 5, you should multiply it by 5 by 5. So this becomes a 5x minus x by 5, that gives you 20. That is 4x by 5 is equals to 20. From this x is equals to 20 into 5 by 4. Okay, so 4 1s are 4 5s are. So x is equals to 5 5s are 25. So first option is the correct one. Okay, now let us go with the next question. If a 75 percentage of number is added to 75, then result is that number itself. Then what is that number? Okay, what we have given, if a 75 percentage of number is added to 75, then the result is that number. So we don't know that what is the required number. For that, what I'm going to suppose, let x be the required number. Then 75 percentage of x is added to the 75. Okay, then result is the number itself. Okay, so this is an equation which is fit to this condition. So 75 percentage means what? 75 by 100 into x, that plus 75, that gives you x. So 25 3 is 25 4 is, so that is 3x by 4 plus 75 gives you x. From this 75 is equals to x minus 3x by 4. If you take LCM, then we'll get it as an 4 as LCM. So to make 1 as a 4, multiplied by 4 by 4. So 4x minus 3x by 4 is equal to 75. That is x by 4. 4x minus 3x, that is x. X by 4 is equal to 75. From this, x is equal to 75 4s are. So that is 300 that you get. So third option is the correct one. Okay, now let us go with the next question, seventh one. The difference between the number and the 2/5 of a number is 510. Then what is the 10 percentage of that number? What we have given, difference between the number, if I suppose that number is x, and the difference between that number and 2/5 of that number gives us 510. So from this, x minus 2x by 5 is equals to 510. I'm taking LCM. LCM is 5. So I'm doing cross multiplication. That is 5x minus 2x is equals to 510. That is 3x by 5 is equals to 510. From this, if you want to find out a x value, we need to transpose this 3 by 5. So as it is a multiplier, if it transposed to other hand, it becomes a divisor. So I should write it as a reciprocal. So 5 by 3, 3 1 the 3, 3 1 the 3, 2 left, 7 the 21 and 0. X is equals to 170 into 5. So x is equals to 850 that we will get. So, and what we are asked to find out, we are asked to find out 10 percentage of number. Required number is what? We get it as 75 in this 10%. So 10 percentage of 850, that is 10 by 100 into 850. 0 0 get cancelled. This 0 0 get cancelled. So 10 percentage of 850 is 85. So second option is the correct one for this question. Now let us go with this eighth one. A number when 35 subtracted from it, it is reduced to its 80 percentage. Then what is 4/5 of that number? What is that question? Firstly, you should understand the question. If we subtract 35 from our required number, if I subtract 35 from the number, if I suppose that number is a x, from the x, if I subtract 35, that gives you 80 percentage of that number. Okay, so from this, what we need to find out? We need to find out that number x, and then after finding that value of x, then we need to find out the 4/5 of that number. So x minus 35 gives you 80 percentage is 80 per 100 into x. Okay, 24 is 25 is. So x minus 35 is equal to 4x by 5, and transposing this one to other hand, it becomes negative, and transposing this negative term to other hand, it becomes positive. So x minus 4x by 5 gives you 35. So if I take LCM, here x means what? X by 1. So if I take LCM, that will be the 5. So to make this one as a 5, multiplied by 5 by 5. So 5x minus 4x by 5 is equals to 35. 5x minus 4x means what? X. X by 5 is equals to 35. From this, x is equals to 35 into 5. You get it as an 175. Now, what we are asked to find out? We are asked to find out the 4/5 of it. 4 by 5 times of x, that is 4 by 5 into 175. So 5 in the 5, 5 3 the 15, 2 left, 5 5. So 4/5 of that number is 4 into 35. That is 140 that you get. Okay, so fourth option is the correct answer. Now let us see this ninth question. If 35 percentage of number is 175, then what percentage of 175 is that number? Okay, so firstly, what we have given that 35 percentage of number. If I suppose that required number is x, then 35 percentage of x is 175. So from this, I'm going to find out x value. So 35 per 100 into x, that gives you 175. So untransposing these all terms to other hand, x is equal to 175 into 100 by 35. Okay, 35 and the 35 5s are 175. So x is equal to 500. And what we are asked to find out, what percentage of 175 gives you 500. That means if I suppose y percentage of 175 gives you 500, then y by 100 into 175, that gives you 500. From this, y is equals to 500 into 100. This denominator 100 transpose to other hand, it becomes a multiplier. Multiplier if I transpose to other hand, it becomes a denominator. Okay, so from this what will get? 535 will get us 175, 500 and 5 7 520. So required is what? Required number is 20 into 100, that is 2000 by 7. 2000 by 7, if you convert into decimals, you will get as 285.71 percentage. So required percentage is fourth option is the correct one. Okay, now let us go with this next question. If 120 is 20 percentage of number, then 120 percentage of number that we are asked to find out. Firstly, what we have given? We have given that 20 percentage of a number given as an 120. From this, we are asked to find out 120 percentage. 20 percentage means what? 20 per 100 into that number gives you 120. 21 the 20 5 the. So required number is what? 120 into 5 by 1, that is 5. So required number is, we get it as 120 into 5, that is 600. And what we are asked to find out? We are asked to find out 120 percentage of 600. Okay, so 120 per 100 into 600. 0 zeros get cancelled. 120 into 6, that is 720 is the answer. So fourth option is the correct one.